Hey everybody, Nick here, and today I want to give a bit of a thank you to the community, give a shout out to a buddy's video, and share with you guys some wonderful gems that you may have missed in the past. My buddy Kevin Cleary did an interesting project where he asked a bunch of YouTube reviewers, myself included, what their favorite top 5 channels were on the YouTube, counted up the results, and did a ranking. I'm not going to spoil it for you because I think you should watch this video, but I did very well, and I'm very, very flattered by that. That said, the really interesting part of that video is actually the second portion where he talks about why people said what they did about these channels. And I actually, in my response, I didn't think we were supposed to go that in depth, so I didn't. But it turns out that the points that he brought up are exactly what I think about when I'm looking at a channel for reviewing. It's really, really nice. And so if you're at all considering getting into the gear reviewing game, this video should be required watching because it shows what people are after, some of the things that I try for, some of the things I try to avoid, and most importantly, it gives some great guidelines and it gives some great suggestions. In this video, they also talk about all the honorable mentions beyond the top 5, and they covered a lot of channels I like, but I wanted to take this opportunity, especially if I have any new subscribers, to point out some other great EDC-related gear sorts of channels on the YouTube. So let's jump there. So I actually have a YouTube playlist that just lists all of my favorite EDC-related YouTube channels. So on the knife, the watch, the pen world. I just wanted to highlight, well, I'll just say a little bit about each here. And these are in no particular order. I don't even know what the order is, so don't read anything into it. And I'm not going to bother doing top 5, top 10, because I'm just one jackass. What do I know? But anyways, these guys are great, and I've got one video per person. Epic Snuggle Bunny is like an encyclopedia of knives. When I do watch knife reviews, it's very often his because he's got a lot of good information. There were some others as well. Jim Skelton has an almost infectious sort of glee. He is a guy who gets his hands on these $4,000, $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 custom knives. And although I wouldn't consider him a reviewer in the classical sense because he doesn't really go into the negative side, he's great at showcasing these and making it kind of entertaining. He's not to everybody's taste, but it can be very amusing, especially when you see something that's just so completely over the top. You're like, oh, I want to see what Jim Skelton says about that, because it's going to be amusing. John Grimsmo is a very, very technical channel. It's Grimsmo Knives, the people who make the Grimsmo Norseman, which is not on my table right now, but should be. Anyways, he walks you through the technical, tiny details of making these knives. Watching his channel is what convinced me to buy a Norseman, because it's like, holy crap, this is the amount of work that's going into making this knife. It's easy to think CNC is easy, straightforward. This is proof that it is not, and he's a great guy to boot. Blade HQ is a well-known knife retailer. They've got a YouTube channel, and it's surprisingly good. They do a lot of really good work on there, and a lot of stuff that's beyond just knives, like how to treat a cut. Something a knife guy needs to know. Tekken Tools is a channel they're not just knives. They do, well, it's one guy, Buddy Ian, but he does really great short reviews of all sorts of gear, whether it be knives, whether it be backpacks, camera gear, all sorts of things. And his reviews are just delightfully compact and really well done. Like the stuff that his production values are just out of the park. It's incredible. And so I like it because it's just like 2 minutes that I spend learning about something, and he does a good job of it. So that's something to check out. The Pen Habit is a great pen video site. Channel, that's the video site, that works too, because he gets into the really geeky details, how to adjust your fountain pen to make it a little bit run wetter, or something along those lines. Goulet Pen Company is another giant pen nerd. This Brian Goulet guy knows a lot about fountain pens and says a great deal about them, does like Ask Goulet or whatever it's called. He just does a great series of videos. It's spectacular. Let's talk about the watch front. Although I can't afford to do that many watch reviews, I am a little bit passionate about the watch world, and one of the people I like a lot is Federico Talks Watches. He does really, really nice videos about watches, not just about, this is one specific watch, but about topics in the watch world. Like, what's going on with Rolex's new warranty policy, or, what's happening with the Swiss watch industry overall. He'll take on these bigger picture sorts of topics that are really, really interesting to me. And when he really does go on a rant, he doesn't do it that often, but when he goes on a rant, it's spectacular. So I appreciate that. A Blog to Watch is a great site for quick reviews and overviews of interesting and high-end watches. A Longa and Zona is a really neat channel, not because, I mean, they're just trying to sell you watches, but the thing is, they are really high-end. This is what happens when you spend 30, 40, 50, 60 grand on a watch. And you kind of see the crazy complexity that these folks pull off. Speaking of that, this guy here, R.W. Smith. Roger Smith is a watchmaker in England who makes watches by hand. He uses a couple of machines, but none of it is CNC'd, and all of it is single craftsman production. These are the watch equivalent of a handmade custom knife, and they are incredible. Mind you, they are also many hundreds of thousands of dollars to purchase, but watching this guy polishing the hand on a watch is really, really neat. And it gives you a sense of appreciation. It's kind of like the Grimsmo Knives channel, except for watches, of just the amount of hand fiddling that's required to make this happen. I will never own one of his pieces. I will never, frankly, I as a person am worth way less than any of his pieces, but nonetheless, it's beautiful to watch. Watch Repair Channel is sort of like my knife disassembly videos, except he's a watchmaker. And so he'll tear a Rolex apart on camera and show you what all the little pieces are, where you lubricate them. It's really fun to watch. It's great to fall asleep to, I'll just say that. It's super relaxing. It's like Bob Ross is taking apart a watch. Great stuff. Hodinkee is a very, very hip publication. They just do higher-end watches. Frankly, they wouldn't let me into their headquarters, I rather suspect, but they can still be pretty interesting. And they do fun things like talking watches with celebrities and whatnot. And, you know, yeah, so that's something that's I find interesting. Back on the knife front, because that's how this list is going. So the Apostle P is well known in the knife community, and he is somebody I respect a great deal in his technical understanding of knives. Generally, and especially when we're talking about like knife design issues and issues of sharpening, he is an expert. I very much trust his opinions, and in many ways I will kind of yield to his expertise on some matters. The man knows knives up, down, and sideways. He's got some strong opinions, and I don't share all of them, but that doesn't stop me from respecting him a great deal as a technical sort of knife reviewer, and very often as I watch his videos, particularly on these technical issues, like he did a great series on the Spyderco Advocate, which is conspicuously absent from my channel, by the way. But he did a great series there, and it's just like, yeah, you go, Apostle. He's got some good ideas there. Knife Techs is a great channel, particularly if you love Swiss Army knives. I don't really talk about them much because for whatever reason they just don't make sense in my life, mostly because I hate nail nicks. But he does a great job of talking about them and giving them the love that they deserve. So Kevin Cleary is a channel that focuses a lot on bigger picture stuff. He does reviews as well, but some of his best work, in my opinion, are these larger overview sorts of affairs. And like this top 10 overseas knife companies, he's done a lot of thinking, and it's great to see that. Dr. Frunke is a new and upcoming sort of reviewer. He's been doing a lot of work. He's got some great custom stuff. He's putting in a lot of effort, and it shows. And I think his channel's going to grow, and it's going to be very interesting as he proceeds through that. Cedric Ada, Gear and Outdoors. Funny guy, great sense of humor on him. I appreciate videos like Top 10 Reasons You Need. Oh, there. Come on, YouTube app. Don't do me like that. This Top 10 Reasons You Need the Strongest EDC Lock is just great. But I like watching his videos. He does great stuff. That's funny. Everyday Commentary is a great channel because Tony from Everyday Commentary is a great reviewer. He's one of the people I respect most, if not the reviewer I respect most and trust most. When I look at, because especially his written reviews, he mostly runs a website. The videos are just kind of an attachment to that. But I respect so much because he's very fair, but he's also very willing to get into it and talk about the ugly, to just dive into those issues. So he's great, and I highly recommend that you check him and his website out. And when he gets on a rant, oh man, it's spectacular. So the Birdshot IV channel, they're great. Frankie and Bud are excellent humans, as well as being excellent knife reviewers and just entertainment figures. They've got the good technical knife skill sorts of chops, if you will. They know what they're talking about, but more interestingly to me is the rapport between the two of them. It is really obvious when you watch a Frankie and Bud video that the two of them love each other very, very much, and that reflects in this sort of really hilarious back and forth. I mean, and maybe I just share their sense of humor and whatnot, but whatever it is, the Birdshot IV channel has me laughing more often than anything else on this list. They are just great. And so I end up watching their stuff on the bus and laughing like an idiot. And people, move away from me, which is actually kind of helpful on a bus too. But anyways, I love the Birdshot IV channel, and I think Frankie and Bert are both excellent humans, so I got to recommend them. Seven Reddy is another brand new reviewer on the scene. Well, not brand new. He's been working for a little while, but he's really, he's doing some great work. And he's got a great technical skill and a good eye for detail. So I'm very much appreciating watching him grow along. And then Toad Sticker is, like I said, last but not least, these are not ordered in any particular manner, but Toad Sticker is another channel where he and I will very often disagree on things. I mean, he sold a Sleesh buoy. Come on, man. But at the same time, I respect a lot of what he has to say. I can watch his reviews and feel very much like, you know what, I don't agree with you, but that was a good review. So these are the list of people that I really like. I hope this is interesting and that you find somebody on this list that maybe you hadn't found before, and that brings you some joy. Feel free to let me know what some of your favorites are in the comments here, but I just want to thank everybody in the community again, not only the folks who voted for me, but the folks who support me, who, subscribe, who Patreon, etc. And I want to thank Kevin for making a great video there, and everybody else for making the knife community the beautiful thing that it is. So, hope this was interesting to you, that you find some new gems in your YouTube subscription list, but mostly that you have yourselves an absolutely wonderful rest of your day. Bye now.